3, 2, 1. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're finally getting here on the air. Oh my goodness, this is going to be a show, well, one way or the other for you. My name is Chris Graham. Thank you very much for tuning in to the National Racing Network's live coverage of the Sim Speed Shop Premier Series, coming to you from Richmond Raceway. And joined in the booth, as always, by Mr. Patrick Byrne. And man, I'll tell you what, Bizzle, outside of some of the, well, we'll say technical issues that we have encountered today over the course of the day, I'm really looking forward to this race. Take your mind off of things for a little bit here, because Andrew Moore Jr. going ridiculously quick time, 22:231. Kevin Dick only 54 thousandths back here as we are down to just a couple of minutes into the qualifying session. Richmond Raceway is always fantastic with these cars, and especially with a field of 13 or so on the grid here tonight. That means we're likely to see this race potentially go green to checkered, with the exception of the one stage break that we're going to have.
Potentially. Knowing Richmond and just knowing my experience here, and not only with this league but other leagues, this track is incredibly loose. It ends up in a lot of single car spins, and of no one's really fault. Johnny Avila, one of the top drivers in this series. Tyler Seville was ragging on him on Facebook earlier today, sending the video when Johnny just lost it all by himself sitting in the lead. This track is tough.
Yeah, the track is tough. The competition is tough. Johnny Avila currently sitting on a 16-point lead in the point standings. As I've managed, there we go. I managed to lose your screen share here. Kevin Dick running 16 points back in the point standings. Hunter Waters third, 23 back of Avila. Tyler Seville, Andrew Moore Jr. both going to be in the top five, as we're now down to 4 minutes and 35 seconds remaining here in qualifications. And Patrick, let's walk everybody through kind of what's going on here. We're doing the broadcast backwards tonight. Ordinarily, I'm the guy who's doing all the controls and button pushing, and you get to be the schmuck sitting on the other side who just gets to run his mouth a little bit. Tonight, because Verizon stinks, we have to flip the script, and you're the one handling the button pushing. You're controlling all the cameras and the graphics and everything, and I'm the one who just gets to be talent and not work at all.
Yeah, and just to make it even better, I forgot to load up all of our cameras, and, you know, we're really doing this. I am a professional at this, I swear.
Yes. Well, one of us is allegedly a professional in this one. Another thing that we can tell you about here before we get into the race itself, quick update on the broadcast for this week. There will not be a Camel GT broadcast this week on Friday. I am unfortunately, well, fortunately for me, but unfortunately for you guys, heading off down to Naples, Florida, where I'll be doing some work with Mav TV, the Lucas Oil On the Edge series, covering the Budweiser Cup Championship for swamp buggies, which is going to be absolutely epic. One of those things I watched on TNT or TNN growing up. I'm now going to get to call in the real world V8 screaming behemoths of machines that somehow drive on water. I'm looking forward to it, but that's going to mean no show this Sunday, or this Friday, I should say. And we'll put out the updates on the socials here when this will air on Mav TV.
Well,
but
depending on how
down to
this
2
one
minutes.
goes,
Oh, go ahead.
I might be able to throw up a show. Maybe I'll leave my day job a little early and get down here and
there you go.
Cars on TV.
So in other words, while I'm doing happy hour down there, we'll be able to tune into the broadcast. Maybe we'll do that. We'll join in the exact same way. I'll join in via Discord, and we'll just hang out here and talk Camel race cars for a little bit in the afternoon. We'll see how the schedules go on that one. But down to 2.5 minutes here in qualifying. I think everybody has turned time, but Andrew Moore Jr., Kevin Dick going to be on the front row. Both of these guys trying to chase down Johnny Avila. Avila will line up on the outside of row number 2 here for this one here tonight. Total of 24 cars have entered races at various points during this Sim Racers Club season. only 13 of those on the grid here tonight. At least I think the number is going to be 13 on the grid here tonight, Patrick. What does that mean for the guys that are in the show? Obviously, a lot of guys you're going to be familiar with. You're going to know where the trouble spots might be. It should be smooth sailing, but like you said earlier, the fixed setup really changes that a lot. If it's a loose setup, they could be in trouble. If it's a tight setup, they could be in even more trouble because you're going to go from push to snap oversteer on corner exit.
Yeah, it is very, very tough. Even if you have a super tight setup, this track just bites you out of nowhere. There's a couple bumps, most notably in the mid-corner of Turn 1 and exiting Turn 4, there's a bump that no matter what you do to the setup, no matter how you drive in the car, you hit that bump just right and you're going around. There's nothing you can do about it. Doesn't matter if you're in a stock car, an open-wheel car, a Silver Crown, it's going to bite you.
Yeah, this one's going to be, well, let's just say difficult on these drivers. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're going to do here tonight as we are now inside of 60 seconds remaining in the qualification session. Taking a look ahead on the schedule a little bit, we have coming up, well, okay, I pulled up the standings, not the schedule. I can click buttons right. God, I can't even do that tonight. Coming up next week, another short track of a wildly different variety. We're heading off to Bristol Motor Speedway for a 200-lap. The Bizzle, what? You're the title sponsor of this race, correct?
I am. Yeah, it's going to be the Bizzle Bowl, 200?
Yes, the Bizzle Bowl 200. We're going to have to make up a logo for that.
It seemed like a good idea at the time. I was kind of just saying, I want to sponsor a race. What better race than Bristol to sponsor?
Yeah, you know what? Bristol sounds like fun. Then the week of April 12th, it will be the Daytona Road Course. The version we don't like that has the NASCAR chicane, but I get why these guys run it because they run the NASCAR Cup cars, so you're going to run the NASCAR layout of the Daytona Road Course. That one's going to be interesting, though.
It's going to be a lot of fun, especially since I'm driving in this series as a ringer. I'm going out there for all the road course races and hopefully showing these stock car boys how it's done.
Yeah. Good luck with that one, buddy.
Well, I've been
Have an
doing
off
some
week
coaching with our buddy James Watson and Team Watson Racing. Doing some coaching with some of their top guys, 8,000, 9,000 iRating guys, and they've gotten me down pretty close to the world record time consistently. So
that's impressive. You know what? We might have to do a reality series where we get my 700 iRating up, maybe to something bordering on 1,000. So I won't be the bottom of bottom split. But cars are out on the starting grid. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for tonight's race. Again, this one here at Richmond will be stages at lap 40 and lap 90. The caution flag will fly at lap number 40, and 175 laps will be your total distance. On the pole will be Andrew Moore Jr. lining up alongside Kevin Dick, 116.721 miles per hour, 22.231, the lap timer record for Andrew Moore Jr. Gulf Oils on the side of the 77, custom paints and diecast on the side of the 52 for Kevin Dick. Row number 2 will have the number 11 of Tyler Seville. Those paint schemes did not update. That's going to be the Chubbies number 11 on the inside of row number 2. About 73 thousandths off of your pole sitter, lining up alongside the GM Goodwrench Plus number 63 of Johnny Avila. Row number 3, starting in the 5th position tonight. Well, as soon as the graphics change, I can tell you who's starting 5th anyway. Oh, there he is.
Being a little screwy.
Yes, they are. Hunter Waters Hunter Waters lining up in position number 5, right about a quarter of a second off the pole time in the Hunter's Fried Pickles number 7. Troy Haight going to line up on the outside of row number 3 in the Woodfather Chevrolet Camaro. Row number 4 will have Tim Knott in the Gunskins number 41, lining up alongside the 43 of Richard Fletcher.
Just give me 1 second. We're having a little bit of more of an issue.
Yeah, the software is just not playing nice for Patrick over here, which is, well, quite frankly, you guys are getting a feel for what I get here. But there you see the rest of the starting grid. Rounding out the field will be John Moeller, about 0.8 of a second back. Couple of EOLs, it looks like, potentially here as well. But field going to make their way through turns 3 and 4. They will come off the corner into the start zone. Green flag in the air. We are underway here at Richmond. Wow, big bobble there for Kevin Dick in the 52. That car stepped out loose, able to recover just a little bit. Man, Johnny Avila having a peek inside of Dick into 1 and 2. Oh, they're going to be 3 wide off at turn number 2. Avila backs out of it. Here comes Tyler Seville up the inside of Kevin Dick into 3. Good side-by-side battle back there between, well, it's sort of Tyler Seville holding down the inside of the racetrack as he has Kevin Dick running in second. Oh, hold on to a Seville sliding down to the inside of the racetrack. As of yet, we do not have a caution. Tyler Seville able to hold on to that race car. My goodness, how does that car still look clean? That is absolutely insane. What a save by Tyler Seville. That means things are going to settle down here at the front just a tiny bit. And I mean a tiny bit.
Johnny Avila and Kevin Dick starting to work their way up through the field. Kevin Dick looks like he's the leader now. What in the world happened to Andrew Moore Jr.?
Oh, man, Andrew Moore Jr. down on pit lane. This looks like it could be a drive-through. They do run the start boxes here in these cars.
He's coming into the pits. I don't see any obvious damage on that car.
No, I don't see any. Well, let's see. He's going to jack the car up on the right-hand side. I wonder if this is a very early strategy call.
I
can't imagine why. I don't know why you would try to make... Man, I don't know. We're going to have to try to talk up our drivers here and see just what in the world is going on there. But now going to be Kevin Dick at the head of the field. Johnny Avila running second. Hunter Waters to third. Tim Knott to fourth. Troy Haight running in the 5th position. And all of these drivers now going to be pretty much single-filed out here. We'll see if we can keep an eye on where any of the battles might be, but already working lap number 7. And Patrick, we've seen this before at Richmond and at some of the short tracks here in the Sim Racers Club. We either get a couple of cautions early, and then the race goes on this monstrously long green flag run, or it seems like all hell breaks loose with 25 or 30 laps to go, and that's where we get a couple of cautions. Tonight, I'm wondering if we're going to see either one of those. My guess might be more just as we get late in the tire run, that could be where we start to see issues.
It very well could be. These guys are playing very, very nicely right now. So, let's see how they keep going as we get closer towards the end of this race, and even close towards the end of the stage if these guys really want to fight for the stage points.
You know what? That's a great point, because the stage points in a short field like this, you're only going to have 10 cars that don't earn stage points tonight, which basically means you only have to move a little bit. I mean, Tyler Seville back to the 10th position. Not sure what happened to Tyler out there on the racetrack, but you're talking about guys that, oh, well, Tyler had the issue off of turn 2. He spun almost plowed the inside retaining wall. When we start talking about some of these guys like Tyler Seville, Johnny Avila, we really have to think about how the stage points could potentially shake out. Tyler Seville, with only having 14 cars on the racetrack, even Andrew Moore for that matter, that was not a death knell for Andrew Moore to have to come into the pits that early.
No, being only a lap down, I doubt we're going to get another car lap down by the end of the first stage. So he should get his lap back and be right back there in the fight. If anything, this helps him because he's got nothing better to do than just save the tires.
Yeah, now the only question that comes up, to, at least for me anyway, for Andrew Moore Jr. is he's already used one of the 2 sets of Goodyear tires that are available to them tonight.
That is a good point. I wonder if he didn't mean to take tires and just couldn't get the boxes unchecked.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fixed setup, so I don't know necessarily. It's not like you would have the issue of you didn't switch from qualifying setup to race setup. That's going to happen automatically. That is an odd thing. We'll have to see what happened there for Andrew Moore Jr., but he's currently running back there in the 14th position. I believe being scored 1 lap down. I do not have the ability to see a timing and scoring monitor tonight. We're running, the World Broadcast headquarters is running off of a jetpack cellular connection, so even running iRacing is going to prove to be a little bit difficult here. But we'll see what we can get up here on our end for that. What else could be a consideration the deeper we start to look into this race? I mean, we're following now Hunter Waters running 3rd, Tim Knott in 4th, and Carroll in the 24 machine in the 5th position. This is something that, oh man, Braden Carroll getting a great run off of turn number 4 there. What are we going to see here? I mean, obviously, this early in the race, it's not worth it to fight for the position, not even being halfway through stage 1. But what are some of the other considerations that these drivers are going to have to think about as this race develops?
Obviously, don't burn the right rear tire off it. But this could turn into a fuel mileage race, too. Lap 40 is very, very early, and I don't believe they can go 125 laps or so on a tank of fuel. So, really, where you're going to make that second pit stop. As Tim Knott gets really, really loose, that's one of the bumps I was talking about, where it's just going to kick the car out, and you really have almost no option with the spin. Tim Knott doing a very good job backing out of it, letting the car kind of do the work and get back in line.
Yeah, these cars being with I mean, they're not huge ground effect cars by any stretch here, but you're going to get a little bit of help that car sort of wants to straighten itself out until you cross the slip angle where you've just lost all grip. But that kind of initial kind of slip angle, it almost can help the car turn a little bit.
Yeah, typically with any car, whether it be a Formula One car or a go-kart, you want about 15% slip is where the tires have the most grip. So you do want the car to slide just a little bit. The problem with these crazy downforce cars is you'll never get it to that slide, and it's very, very hard to keep it there if you do get it on that slide.
Well, and something else, I mean, you talk about these guys wanting to feel a 10 to 15 degree slip angle. I know I'm not real good at this iRacing thing, but I have absolutely no feel of that seat of the pants. The car's going to start to step out on me a little bit. How do you develop that feel shy of having, you know, a motion rig or the butt kickers or any of that kind of stuff? It really is not an easy thing to do to develop that feel.
You don't even necessarily have to develop that feel. iRacing and the other simulators make it very, very easy. Turn all of your noise sliders, everything way down, and turn your tires all the way up. When they just start to squeal a little bit, you're right on the money, whether it be the rear tires or the front tires. If it squeals when you turn the wheel, that'd be your front tires. If it squeals when you hit the gas, that'd be your rears. And just doing that can help you develop a huge amount of feel. And just knowing what's going on with the car as John Mueller pulls right up in front of Braden Carroll.
Wow. Looks like already some damage on the front of that 83 machine as well. As Carroll able to stay clear, and we will stay under green flag conditions.
But look at all of the distance he lost to Troy Haight. Troy Haight was way back, like 2.5 seconds back or so, and now he's right there on the bumper of Braden Carroll. He really had to step up binders.
Yeah, and it's kind of the worst place to have it happen, because with the D-shaped front straightaway here, your corner exit speed is just so critical. I mean, we've talked about it before. The iRacing sim is back the corner up, slow it down on entry, and then
in
contact.
The 86.
John Moeller may have gotten some hub. Yeah, Tony Patton may have had enough of John Moeller holding him up there, but we're going to stay green.
Kevin Dick still currently leading. Johnny Avila following closely behind Hunter Waters. Oh, excuse me, that's not Hunter Waters. That would be Richard Smith II. He just put a lap down.
Yes, for whatever reason, we are not seeing the liveries updating on your screen here, but that's all right. We'll leave them where they are.
I tried refreshing them. I'm on a fresh install of Windows. It's the perfect storm of everything going wrong. So I just installed Trading Paints, and it's still being screwy, unfortunately.
Yeah. So taking a look here, that means the 23 of Richard Smith is going to go a lap down. With Smith being a lap down, that puts Andrew Moore out of the lucky dog position. He will not get the free pass. And also taking a look here, kind of looking for the 19 of Tom Wilhite, as I do have a copy of iRacing open on my end here so I can see some timing and scoring data. Tom Wilhite is not quite there yet to going a lap down to the race leaders. Kevin Dick just entering turn 3 as Wilhite crossing the start-finish line. Following the closest battle on the racetrack right now, that's going to be the 24 of Braden Carroll, with the 28 of Troy Haight just behind. Moeller again bounces the car off the wall, the exit of turn 2. Oh, man. Pucker factor moment there for Kevin Dick as he sees that car bounce off the wall just ahead of him. Moeller going to be able to hold it down to the inside of the racetrack.
Unable to get the pit lane.
That car,
he is very, very slow.
Yeah, very, very slow off of turn number 4. The Black Clover Chevrolet Camaro absolutely crawling. He's going Alexander Rossi at Indy kind of speeds down the front straightaway. His winning year, by the way, not like regularly.
So you see, this is a three-way battle for 4th right now. Braden Carroll leading it. He actually got away from Troy Haight a little bit. Now Tim Knott and Troy Haight are going to fight for the 5th spot.
Yeah, interesting there to see. Well, no, they're not, because caution flag number 1 is out on the racetrack, and I believe it's going to be for John Moeller at low speed.
Unfortunately, my replay button doesn't want to work either, so...
Yeah, no, well, we're not even going to worry about instant replays here tonight. I'll take a look here and see if we... Yes, we'll do it live. Let's see. Lee Campbell going to be the only car, looks like, coming down pit lane at this point. Bizzle, if you swap over to the ticker and the... yeah, okay. Hit your hide all button.
There we go.
And then go to your ticker and your field pitting. That will pull up the, that'll let us know who is going to be on pit road and when. There we go. Now we got it. Lee Campbell going to be the car that is on pit lane. Pit stop's going to be over 12, 13 seconds. That car will, yeah, that car going to have a little bit of damage repair as well. 16.95 seconds, the time of the stop for Lee Campbell. But he did take 4 tires and filled that car full of Sunoco racing fuel. So this is another car that has now used up one of those 2 sets of tires in the box. I wonder what we're going to see here on this restart, Patrick, because the choose rule is in effect. I don't know that anybody actually wants the high side unless you're going to go for the bonsai move into turn 1. But now working lap 33, it's going to be at least lap 35 before we go back to green. There's a chance here for some guys to make up a bunch of these stage points in very, very short order.
Not only that, these guys are going to be absolutely fighting for it now. The whole field is bunched together. Everyone has a shot to get a bunch of stage points, especially since there's only 2 cars on the lead lap that are not within reach of getting at least 1 stage point. So we're going to be racing the battle the whole way through the field.
I wonder if that's why Lee Campbell didn't come down pit lane. Put a fresh set of sneakers on it. Try to pick yourself up a bunch of bonus points. Get the little bit of damage repair done while you can. And with the lights still on the iRacing pace truck, that means it's going to be at least lap number 36 before we go back to green. So what's what, 36, 5 laps to go here in stage number 1.
Hell yeah.
That's a trophy dash.
Will Worsler checking in the YouTube comments. Unfortunately, he gets to miss tonight's race due to internet issues as well. So, internet issues across the board. So, maybe it's not localized just to you, Chris. This might be a national thing.
Yeah, Will, are you on Verizon Sucks by chance? By the way, I did my good deed for the racing world this morning, Patrick. As the lights are still on the iRacing safety pace truck. Oh, lights are out? Okay.
I'm seeing lights out.
Oh, yeah, lights are out. Sorry. I was on the replay on my look. All right, so lights are out. We're getting lined up 2 by 2. Patrick, our totaled car that was hit by a hit-and-run driver was towed away today with Copart Sucks written in big letters on the front and back windshields. So when they took it to the Copart lot, and the Copart driver was having to tow the car that says Copart Sucks on it all over eastern Pennsylvania. But
that is
Fields off of turn number 4. Wow, Johnny Avila does not get a real good restart there. In fact, he's going to get the shove from Carroll all the way down towards turn number 1. Avila and Waters going to be side by side. Who's going to win that battle off at turn number 2? Right now, it looks like it'll be Johnny Avila. Not quite able to clear all the way. Yeah, Waters still going to be there. And the Tabasco fried pickles, number 7.
Tyler Seville looking to make up a ton of ground this time around. Not going to be able to get anything done here, and I think the tires are getting ready to be a little cooked.
Well, here's where that becomes a problem. If they take tires at the lap 40 caution and stage break that will be upcoming here momentarily, that means you've got to make one set of tires last 135 laps. If your tires are cooked at 40, my math says you've still got a budge. Oh, man.
Contact between teammates.
We'll call that one right side romance, I think, from the 7 of Hunter Waters. Man, Hunter's sliding up the racetrack again. I think the tire wear battle is going to be really interesting to watch how that develops here.
Now, Tyler Seville and Johnny Avila were going at it today on Facebook about how they're either going to wreck each other and Tyler's going to blow the doors off Johnny. And from what I saw on Facebook, I'm a little bit underwhelmed right now. So Tyler's got some work to do.
Oh, this one's interesting here, Patrick. I'm just pulling up the schedule. They actually have 3 sets of tires in the box tonight.
Oh, so plenty of rubber to go around.
So then you've only got to go, but that means you would need to theoretically go to like 58 laps a stint or so.
Kevin,
60, 60, and 60 would be 180.
Going to win stage 1, Johnny Avila going to be in second, Hunter Waters finishing stage 1 in third.
Yeah, there you go. Good Lord, I'm not even paying attention to the lap counter here. That's a big stage win for Kevin Dick. Going to pick him up 10 points. That puts him to within 6 of Johnny Avila. Well, no, because Johnny finished second. He's going to earn 9 points, so he only gains 1. So it's going to make it a 15-point difference as they're going to come around to get packed up behind the iRacing pace truck. And I guess now the question really becomes, do you take tires here, or do you try to stretch these to like 75-ish laps, and then you're going to make it a shorter run? I don't know. It looks like everybody's going to be coming down pit road this time.
Yeah, no, if I got 3 sets, give me rubber.
Well, let's see. They're going to be coming down here at lap number 42 at the absolutely crawling pace speed of 35 miles an hour.
Oh, it's miserable here. It's like coming off the highway out in the middle of nowhere where speed limit's 80, And then you get off the exit and you're in this little small town with a cop sitting up on top of the hill with his radar gun, and you see a sign that says speed limit 15. Like, come on, man!
Well, here you go, Lee Campbell. I like the call. Short pit stop, 6.1 seconds. He will come out as the race leader.
Johnny Avila
Kevin Dick going to be second.
Hunter Waters.
Just barely edging out Hunter Waters. Braden Carroll going to be fifth here in line at the choose cone. And it looks like it'll be Tim Knott, Andrew Moore Jr., Troy Haight, Tyler Seville, Richard Fletcher, Tony Patton, Tom Wilhite, and Richard Smith II.
Will Worsler checking in saying, Seville's not done by any means. I don't think he is. We're still very early in the race.
Yeah, still way early, and quite frankly, if there's a guy that I want managing tires, it's Tyler Seville. AJ Digby might be the fuel guy, especially the fuel calculations guy. But the tire management, Tyler Seville is outstanding. And quite frankly, he's been around this league a very, very long time. Actually, I'm going to pull up the all-time stats on this league, because the numbers are absolutely incredible that Tyler Seville has put up in this series.
Which is something like 16 trillion laps, 10,000 top fives, about 1,500 wins.
You're not that far off. Tyler Seville in 160 races. He has 159 starts. He took a provisional at some point. 14 poles, 14 wins, 77 top fives. 48% of his starts have been top five finishes, 71% inside the top 10, and here's where the numbers really start to get incredible. 17,780 laps entering tonight's race. He led almost 1,200, completing a total of 24,152 miles. That's a long time to have been running in this league. And actually, he is the active leader in starts. Tim Knott is actually not far behind at 154. Will Worsler has 149, Troy Haight 148, and Richard Fletcher 119. It's impressive, man. Now, as we get doubled up for the restart, Lee Campbell going to take the inside. Kevin Dick's going to line up on the outside of row number 1. Johnny Avila, Braden Carroll on row number 2. Row 3 will have Hunter Waters and Troy Haight. Row number 4, Tim Knott and Tony Patton. Row 5, Tyler Seville and Tom Wilhite. His green flag goes back in the air. Good jump for Campbell. Second time in a row now we've seen the car on the outside lane just not get going and get a big shove from Carroll into turn 1.
Dick kind of falling like a rock.
Yeah, he got way high. He carried a lot more speed than he planned to into turn 1, courtesy of the front bumper of the 24. Now Johnny Avila going to have the look inside of Campbell. Lee Campbell will pick up the lap led at the start-finish line, but Johnny Avila is going to be your new race leader off of 2. Oh, one car banging it hard off the inside wall. That may have been... That was, I believe, Richard Smith II hitting the wall down there on the inside, down the back straightaway. Oh, man, that's a 3-wide battle off of turn number 2 as well. Smith able to come around the 43 of Richard Fletcher. Andrew Moore comes past. That's going to put Moore back up to the 10th position. Now looking back towards the front of the field, going to be Kevin Dick inside of Lee Campbell. That's the fight for the second position. Now as we're working
over the rear bumper of Lee Campbell.
Yeah, he is not afraid to use the bumper, man. If you do it well and you keep it clean, it is a completely valid race tactic to use. But you have to really trust the guys that are in front of you, too, because we do have the avoidable contact penalties in this league. You can be called for rough driving. That's a racecraft penalty. It's not as simple as just get to somebody and kind of give them a shove. You kind of have to be tactful about it and make sure they don't wreck.
Yeah, and these are fendered cars. Like you said, you can absolutely use the bumpers. That's what they're there for. But you really have to be careful with it. You kind of want to tap somebody instead of bump them. Like, just flash that little green bar in the top of the other driver's screen that says 0x car contact. Just let them know that, hey, I'm here and I want to go by.
I'll tell you what, this is a fantastic battle you've got up on the screen here for us. Hunter Waters outside of Lee Campbell. Tim not working the outside of the race course. He is right up against that safer barrier, the exit of the corner.
Yeah, not taking
Number
tires.
4, and he's going to do the same thing here off of 2.
Not taking tires on lap 40. I don't know if that was the right call. I think we took them just a little bit too early.
Yeah, because now there's no guarantee that we're going to see a caution flag at any point in this race, which means if you have to run these all the way to the end, you've got to go, 75 laps on your tires instead of the 65 that everybody else is going to have to go. And with the way tire fall off is, that's a big deal.
We've got a little bit of a battle for the lead going on right now. Side by side is Johnny Avila and Kevin Dick.
Yeah, those guys will keep this fight going down towards turn number 1. Avila going to hug that yellow line all the way on the inside. Kevin Dick running a little bit higher line through the corners. He's not necessarily kind of sharing that inside lane of the dashes here. He's up in that full-on middle lane, which you would think would help you keep up some momentum through the corners. And Kevin Dick making up some ground on corner entry, carrying a little bit more speed in. But that 63 machine just absolutely able to get off big off the corners.
Yeah, around Richmond, that bottom line has way more grip than the upper lines, especially in the mid-corner. You can see Kevin Dick is losing all of his speed in the mid-corner to Johnny Avila. And that turns into losing speed on the exit of the corner, too. You can see Avila just pulls away in the mid-corner and really gets an advantage going down the backstretch, which is surprising.
Now, is Kevin Dick going to be able to try the crossover here off of turn 4? No, because the back end has a little bit of a wiggle. Man, he really does sail it off into turn 1, though. It's kind of interesting to watch because what we see off of turn 4 is really a consequence of what's happening at the entrance to turn number 1. Kevin Dick is giving up a little bit of speed on corner exit down the backstretch. That's a little bit less top speed at the end of the straightaway. You run the high line again, you're not getting as quickly off the corner. And by the time you're back to turn 1 again, Johnny Avila's sliding off at turn 2, right back half a car length in front.
Yeah, it's kind of a stalemate right now. I'm thinking with the way this setup is, the way the track is, I mean, it's not a very warm track, so you're not going to have a lot of moving around. Track's at 80 degrees right now. So I think this is a single groove race tonight, and you're going to have to use the bumper and get the guy loose and shove him up. Something that we've seen
that's not something
Braden Carroll is not afraid to do tonight.
No, and quite frankly, you're getting a little bit of practice in early in the race is maybe not the worst thing to have happen. If I'm leading with a couple laps to go, I don't want Braden Carroll starting third behind me on the restart because you're going to be going up the racetrack to turn 1. Both times we've seen Carroll do that on the restarts, it's been on the outside lane. You could really go 2 for 1 if you want to push the issue on the restarts. Looks like Carroll's going to make the move inside of Kevin Dick through 1 and 2. And I'll tell you what, that might be the move. The interesting thing to watch here, though, is how many laps does it take to get that pass fully completed? It's not going to be this time by the start-finish line. In fact, Kevin Dick going to be able to hold on to the position as they're now catching up to John Moeller. So Kevin Dick going to really have to kind of grab the binders here. Moeller scrapes the wall off of 2.
Running the Chastain line.
But that's what allowed... Yeah. But that catching the lap car is what allowed Braden Carroll to make that pass as quickly as he did. It would have been 3 or 4 more laps of them running side by side. Your lap times are almost identical.
Yeah, and you can see Kevin Dick has moved down to the bottom. Just going to try and run that lane, kind of mimic what they're doing, and just stay up here and build this gap. You go here to Kevin Dick in 3rd place. He's in the Geico restart zone. Troy Haight is way back here, only now just getting to the restart zone. So, bit of a distance between these cars.
A little bit of distance there, but what we're seeing is kind of 3 three-car battles forming up. We're now following, well, let's see. We'll pick up 4th place Troy Haight. He has Hunter Waters and Tyler Seville right in tow as they're coming around John Moeller. That's going to be 4th, 5th, and 6th. The next 3 cars are about 1.25 seconds back. That's going to be Lee Campbell, Tim Knott, and Tony Patton. And it kind of just feels like everybody is behaving themselves right now. Don't wear out the tires. You want to try to save a set. And quite frankly, we're seeing that reflected in the lap times. Last time by for race leader Johnny Avila was a 23 flat. His best lap of the race, a 22.4. Already 6/10 slower. That could just be from tire wear, not even trying to save these at all.
Yeah, no matter how well you save, it's still going to slow down over the course of the run. You are wearing rubber off the tires. It's just how quickly you do it. And the hotter you get the tires, the faster that rubber kind of flies off.
Let's see. Checking the YouTube comments here. Will Worsler a little bit ago saying Digby is definitely the fuel numbers / calcs guy. Yes. That man is an absolute rocket scientist when it comes to the fuel numbers. Also seeing Dig Zarel checking in. Can't stick around. Wanted to check in. I'll be back next week. I believe. Actually, I'm not sure who that is. Because he also left a comment. Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, it could be Digby. Say, go WWR drivers. Those Will Worsler Racing drivers currently running in 1st, 5th, 6th, and 11th right now. As we are still under green, working lap number 71, and 28 laps into the run, we're approaching where these guys made their first tire stop. But if you're gonna split it up into 3 segments, you cut 20 laps in total off, means you have to go 20 more. You're looking at needing about 70 or so laps on this next set of tires. You're not even, whoa, we're halfway there. You may be living on a prayer before the end of this tire run.
I see what you did there. Neither of us are from New Jersey.
I'm here for you, bud.
And we can do without the quoting Bon Jovi.
There's something else I call him, but it's not something we can use on the air.
Oh dear, I hear the keyboards clacking, so you're going to hear me giggle here in a few, but we've got one hell of a race going on TV, so.
Yeah, and actually this battle is really good between Troy Haight, Hunter Waters, and Tyler Seville. They're all staying within about, gosh, I mean, it's only a couple of car lengths at the line between Haight and Hunter Waters. And I wonder a little bit, is some of that potentially some dirty air kind of at the midpoint of the corners possibly? Because it almost feels like that's where we're seeing the drop-off. The guys that are good on corner entry, they're right up behind them.
I didn't see any
Man, we didn't see
there.
it that time. No, that was a great run through 3 and 4 that time by Hunter Waters.
Yeah, I think 1 and 2 is just a little bit slicker, and that's where you see that fall off. Is here in 3 and 4, Hunter Waters able to just send it in there.
Well, they're also 2 very different corners. I mean, theoretically, they're shaped the same, but you're carrying a lot more speed into turns 1 and 2 versus 3 and 4. and your entry profile is also significantly different as well.
They are two very different corners. Turn 1 and 2 starts open and tightens as you go through it, to use some rally car driver terms, and turns 3 and 4 starts tight and opens. So I guess if you mirrored the track, they're almost the same corner, but how you drive them is completely different.
Right, from a design perspective, the banking's the same, the radius is the same. Theoretically, the corner is the same, but it's the transitions to the straightaways or the back straightaway or the D-shaped oval on the front stretch. That's where things really start to get risky for these drivers. It's also things like the transition off of turn 2 where the car kind of wants to step out because it flattens off really quickly.
Now, one thing I'd like to note about Richmond that might come into play with all the photo finishes we've seen. If you were to split this track in half and just mirror one side to the other side, you'd either have no start-finish lines, or you'd have 2 of them. The start-finish line is right outside of turn 4 down that little short chute. It is not in the tri-oval of the D.
Yeah, it is not squared up, and quite frankly, it's not a ton of space, but it's enough that you're gonna get, if you're gonna make that move through 3 and 4, you kind of almost have to have the pass completed before the start-finish line. Let's kind of run you quickly through the field here.
If you want to win the race, you do need to have the pass completed by the start-finish line.
That is correct. But I mean, it's not like, it's kind of the opposite of Talladega, where you come off the corner and you still got a long way to go to get to the start-finish line. Here, it's a shorter run off of turn number 4.
Yeah.
Just seeing Andrew Moore Jr. coming around the 28 of Troy Haight. Moore being scored now 2 laps behind the race leader. At the front of the field, and you don't have to switch the cameras over for this one, Patrick, but Johnny Avila holding a 3-second lead over Kevin Dick. Braden Carroll running in third, about 3 seconds back of Kevin Dick. And then it is, well, tight. Something happened to Braden Carroll out there on the race course, because Hunter Waters is right there.
You can see how hot the rotors are on Braden Carroll's car. He's really having to get on the brakes the whole way through the corner. I wonder if he's burnt up all of the tires in that thing and just having to force it down to the bottom there. Yeah, you can see the difference in color between his brake rotors and the 11 and the 7's brake rotors.
The fact that we have that level of detail on iRacing is pretty incredible. But it actually cost Hunter Waters a spot because Carroll was so slow through 3 and 4 that Waters had to really grab the binders off the corner. That allowed Tyler Seville to come past. Now Seville going to work on Carroll. We'll see. Oh, they're going to be tight. That was a little bit of contact through 3 and 4. Hunter Waters says, thank you very much.
Carroll was trying to squeeze the veteran Tyler Seville, and Seville said, no, I won't let you bully me today.
Yeah, that's one way to fight it. The other thing it did was it brought Troy Haight back into the battle as well. But these guys are now running about almost 8 seconds back of race leader Johnny Avila. His gap is staying pretty stable between 3.5 to say 3.7 seconds over Kevin Dick. Coming up to the end of Northland Leisure stage number 2. Let's do all the sponsor plugs and shout outs before we get to the end of this second stage. Your overall champion going to pick up some hardware courtesy of simspeedshop.com. Make sure you check out simspeedshop.com/products for all of your iRacing and sim racing equipment needs. Steering wheels, button boxes, all sorts of stuff over there at simspeedshop.com. Putting up some cash for the stage winners, as we mentioned, is Northland Leisures. We're down to 2 to go here in stage number 2. Find them on Facebook at Northland Leisure. Realty Executive Saskatoon putting up the awards for the fastest lap of the race. That lap currently belongs to Johnny Avila. 22.453 seconds
Wait, I
is the
think that
best
box
lap
works.
of the race.
Hunter Waters currently has the fastest lap in the race.
There you go. It's Hunter Waters, 22.432. Sorry about that. Hunter, I'm not trying to cheat you out any money here. 115.627 miles per hour on the fast lap of the race for Hunter Waters. Also, big thank you to Custom Paints and Diecast, putting up the cash for the hard charger and the biggest loser of the race. Your Northland Leisure Stage winner will be the number 63 of Johnny Avila. Coming home second is Kevin Dick, so they will swap the points back that they had earned in stage number 1. That will make the championship battle back to 16 points.
Now, one thing I'd like to note is it sounds like these guys are swapping and not making up any distance on each other. But by getting all of these stage points and finishing up front, they are pulling themselves away from the rest of the field just like they did last year. And it had me pose the question to the admins of the series of, what do we do if they tie at the end of the championship? Because I'm not worried, but concerned it might be that close.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I mean, all it's going to take is one not real good race for Johnny Avila, and all of a sudden that absolutely is going to come into play. Looking ahead to the schedule here, I don't necessarily see any races that are going to be terrible for Johnny Avila. Bristol, the Daytona Road Course, the off week. But the big one that's coming is Talladega on May 3rd. There's just no way of predicting what's going to happen at that race.
I have a feeling that the Daytona Road Course could be surprising. That chicane, I have the whole... Oh, Braden Carroll getting into the wall. That stupid chicane they've got outside of Turn 4. I have had so much trouble with that, and everyone I've spoken to has had trouble with it. It's a first-gear corner. It is terrible. The rest of the track is easy. Got that nailed down, you won't see any carnage there. But I have a feeling you'll see a lot of single-car incidents going through that chicane with those huge turtles. If you hit them just wrong, miss your braking marker, you were getting sent into that inside wall.
Taking the look here at Braden Carroll, since you have him up on the screen here, Patrick, he restarted this race in the 4th position on the outside of row number 1, or row number 2. We're seeing what happens when you drive this car too hard. He has fallen back to the 7th position. He is 16, now almost 17 seconds behind the race leader. When you're talking about turning 22-second laps, he's in danger of going a lap down from beating these tires up, and they've still got probably 20 more laps to go on this set of tires.
Not only that, but I'd like you to take note of the brake rotors again. You can see how much brighter the rears are getting than the fronts. This car does not want to turn for him. He's got the brake bias all the way back. He's holding the brakes the whole way around the corner, just trying to get this thing to turn. You can see how slow he's going, and he still missed the corner. I don't even want to say it's him. It's just the tires. Obviously, he's not a bad driver. He was doing fantastic, but these tires don't want to stick to the road no more.
No, and this is something we saw happen last season with Kevin Dick on a couple of occasions that we have not seen happen this season, and that is the run out to the big lead, drive the car too hard early in the stint. Kevin Dick has become a much more, I don't want to say calm driver, but more cerebral driver in how he's managing the equipment. And that's really where I kind of look at it and go, man, if Johnny Avila has a slip-up, Kevin Dick is going to pounce on this.
Yeah, and Johnny Avila currently 6 seconds ahead of Kevin Dick. Not a small number at all. Johnny Avila's best lap, by the way, was a 22.453. His last lap was a 23.837. So they're over a second and a half slower than they were on their best lap. I'm thinking they're getting to the point it might be faster to pit. Kevin Dick, as I say that, driving into the pits, his last lap was a 24.286, so he's even half a second slower than Johnny Avila right now. So taking the short pit might be a good idea.
Well, the short pit might not be a bad idea. They're on lap 59 of this run of tires. The problem, though, is that makes the next stint 70 laps. So you've got to go 10 more than you did right now. I'm guessing you're hoping there's a caution at some point. But, man, there are no guarantees of that in this race.
You're hoping there's not a caution. Because when the whole field was real close and tight on that restart, everyone had to push. But now there's no reason you have to push. You can baby that car and you can get another 10 laps out of it, I think.
You know what? That's a great point. I guess the question is, do you want to make that, do you want to run those 10 laps now, or do you want to run those 10 laps later? I think it's a fair question. At this point, Kevin Dick needs everybody else to have to pit as Hunter Waters making his way off of pit lane. 14.28 seconds the time of the stop for Hunter Waters. Braden Carroll also off of pit lane.
You can see Hunter Waters still on cold tires, even passing Johnny Veal like he's standing still.
Yeah, so now I guess the question becomes, I guess you could maybe, if you went 65 laps, you could kind of split the difference on the stint.
Yeah, as we see Johnny Avila now coming into the pits. Tyler Seville looks like he's going to stay out one more time. Or do we see him get in the binders? Not this time.
Not this time, and that means Tyler Seville, Troy Haight, and Tony Patton will be the only cars left on the lead lap. And this is where a caution really comes out to bite some of these guys. If it falls while only a couple of cars are on the lead lap. Everybody else will get their lap back when they come down pit road. They'll take the leaders will come down pit road. You take the wave around, do the thing. But you're still starting behind some of these guys. I don't necessarily think we're going to see a caution here as Johnny Avila comes back out. Wow. Man, John Moeller almost getting big-time contact there from Andrew Moore Jr.
Johnny Avila at the pit wall. Kevin Dick going to be shortly behind him. So Johnny Avila not losing out on the effective race lead.
Not losing out on the effective race lead, and actually Kevin Dick is going to be about a full second back. Andrew Moore Jr. has not made his pit stop yet. He's back on the lead lap through pit strategy as he is working lap number 31 on this set, now lap 32 on this set of tires. Yeah, I guess he needs the caution because if he stops under green as well, he's going to go back the lap down.
So that leaves Tyler Seville and Troy Haight. Seville going to try and come down pit road now. Let's see if Haight comes to follow. No, Troy Haight going to stay out yet another lap.
You know what? I think this is a case of Troy Haight wants to run these tires, try to run them those 70 laps. And say, man, I'm good to go now. There's no worry about having to save. Just run those same first 60 laps that you ran. And Troy Haight could be in a position to be pretty good here. The problem is he's giving up a ton of time. His last lap time, 24.4. Last lap time for Johnny Avila, 22.5. It's a full 2-second difference between Troy Haight and Johnny Avila.
Yeah, I'm not sure this is going to work out for Troy unless we get, even if we get a caution, he's got a pit and none of these guys do.
Correct. It's almost like you can run, the overcut is not necessarily run it until it's out of fuel. The overcut is run it until the strategy says, this is the lap that I have to pit, not necessarily the last lap that you could possibly pit.
Yeah, the advantage of the undercut is it gives you the position when that other car pits. The advantage of the overcut is if you get a long enough run and you time it just right, you have the advantage coming up to the closing laps of the race.
Well, and I think maybe that's what Troy Haight is doing here, because he is making no effort towards coming down pit road. And he is already 72 laps into this tire stint. He actually could go long enough that maybe he can go full blast on that final set of tires. But he's going to be coming down this time.
Johnny Avila going to pass him there and take the race lead. So Troy Haight almost putting himself a lap down alone without the pit stop running out there.
Yeah, Avila making his way off of turn number 2. And Troy Haight has not yet gotten to his pit box. He actually could be a lap and a half down, almost 2 laps down, by the time this whole thing is over, because he's still got to make a 14-second pit stop.
Still in the box, so he went a lap down when he went a lap down just now. Still in the pit box.
Yep, the crew just finishing their work on the left-hand side. 14:37 the time of the stop for Troy Haight. And Johnny Avila already down the front stretch and into turn number 1. So Troy Haight not going to go 2 laps down, but it's going to be about a lap and a half down that Troy Haight's going to be. At this point, he needs this race to go green the rest of the way and then just run an absolute blast of a final tire stint.
Yeah, but if you burn off those tires in the first 5 laps even, just overheat them and junk them, they're junk for the rest of the run. You still have to take care of them a little bit.
Seeing John Moeller running slowly on the racetrack. We will stay under green flag conditions here, working lap number 120 of 175. Johnny Avila, your race leader, by 3 seconds over Kevin Dick. Hunter Waters, another 5 seconds back in third. Only battle on the racetrack right now going to be Tyler Seville and Tim Knott, and even that one wasn't much of a battle either.
I was going to say, closest battle on the track right now is going to be Andrew Moore and Hunter Waters, who is way up here in the Geico restart zone. Andrew Moore only just getting there, about half a second gap between those 2 cars. So, green flag pit stop, spreading everyone out.
Yeah, that's kind of what they do. Lee Campbell running in 8th is the first car 1 lap down. Tony Patton 1 lap down. Richard Smith and Troy Haight all being scored 1 lap down. John Moeller is 14 laps behind, running in the 12th position. Richard Fletcher and Tom Wilhite will both be out of this race. Andrew Moore Jr. now coming in for his pit stop. I believe he will also go back to being 1 lap down. The question is going to be, where does he fall on that list of cars that are 1 lap down? Lee Campbell comes past, Tony Patton also coming past. While Moore is stationary in the box, he actually could go back to being 2 laps down. So we're down to only 6 cars remaining on the lead lap, as we are down to 52 laps to go here at Richmond.
I gotta say, I do love where they moved the exhaust to on these things. It's on both sides, which is pretty cool, especially whether you're sitting in the infield or outside the racetrack. It's loud. But not only that, they moved it up, like, underneath the driver's door, which just shoots flames down the whole side of the car. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it looks cool, and of note is at least a couple of times this season, these NASCAR Cup Series cars will run in the real world with mufflers on them for, I think, the first time ever, at least the first time since the 40s and 50s, when they were just, quite frankly, at times stealing cars out of the parking lot to run them.
Now,
apparently, the sound is the same, it's just not as ear-splitting, is what we have heard from some of the trackside observers.
not only is it, I don't want to say not as ear splitting, which you should be wearing ear protection anytime you go to a racetrack regardless, but the noise isn't going to travel as far. It's not going to carry, which the mufflers open up opportunities to race at tracks such as Laguna Seca, which has fairly strict noise ordinance laws. They have to run a different muffler package on those cars when IMSA goes there, when IndyCar goes there. Same thing with Lime Rock. Lime Rock has incredibly strict noise ordinances. That's why the NASCAR Modifieds don't run there anymore. So while mufflers on the car are not necessarily the best thing for a purist, I don't think it's necessarily bad because it opens up the opportunity to come race at some other tracks that are unfortunately affected by noise ordinances.
Yeah, not only that, but even things like that, it's just more kid-friendly. Like, it's the damage that gets done to hearing spending a lifetime around race cars is not only very real, but it is life-altering to a lot of people. Oh, Tim Knott going for a slide off of turn number 4. That will bring out the third caution flag of the race here this evening with 45 laps to go? 46 to go?
Yeah, this is going to be a dogfight now.
Are we in that window of have they made their final tire stop? I don't think they have they?
I don't believe so. Johnny Avila looks like he's going to come down the pits. That is a closed pit lane, though. The red light was still on. Kevin Dick going to come down, too. So maybe my iRacing is showing me a red light. There's really a green light on.
Yeah, let's see who... The top 5 are all on pit lane. Tim Knott was the 6th car on the lead lap. He did not come in. So everybody that's on the lead lap is down pit lane. There you see the clocks ticking up. You'll see the first car off of pit lane. That will be Johnny Avila. 14.7 seconds the time of the stop for Avila. Wow, good stop there for Kevin Dick's crew. 13.8. 14.83 for Hunter Waters. 14.28 for Tyler Seville. Braden Carroll, 24.25, 24.41 seconds. The time of the stop there for Carroll. Tim Knott making his way down pit lane now. Either way, he was going to have an EOL as the cause of the caution. So now, Patrick, it looks like we're going to have about a 40-lap sprint or so based on when we get the green flag here once again. All of the cars that were a lap down electing not to come down pit lane.
And unfortunately, Richard Moore Jr. or Andrew Moore Jr. I'm mixing up names. He's right behind Richard Smith. Andrew Moore Jr., unfortunately still a lap down, so that strategy did not work out for him. But maybe we get another caution and he gets the lucky dog. Maybe he can pass some of these cars here.
Well, my timing and scoring is showing him as being on the tail end of the lead lap.
Okay.
He'll get the wave around. In fact, all 4 of these cars ahead of the race leaders will get the wave around. It's going to put everybody, with the exception of Tim Knott and John Moeller, back on the lead lap. The problem is these guys are going to have to stop again. Tony Patton has 24 laps on his tires, 16 laps for Troy Haight, 42 laps on the tires for Richard Smith II.
I definitely
all of a
trust,
sudden,
your timing and scoring much more than mine, as my software has not been cooperating. I am lucky it lets me switch drivers to point the camera at.
Yeah. Oh, here you go. Patrick, at the top of your timing screen, there's a thing that says cameras. If you click on that, it'll open up a window of cameras that you can click on, and that'll do your camera changes for you.
Ah.
Yeah, that window. I don't know if you guys could see that on the broadcast. I don't think so, but... Field is doubled up. Going to be Johnny Avila, Kevin Dick on the
Works
front
like a
row for
charm.
this restart. Row number 2 will have Hunter Waters and Tyler Seville. All alone in row number 3, it's a reverse Delaware double file, is going to be Braden Carroll, Lee Campbell on the inside. Tim Knott there as well as the green flag goes back in the air. We are underway once again here at Richmond at lap number 135. And Braden Carroll with the big dive down to the inside. He's going to go 2 for 1. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Man, I don't know. He's charging so hard on these restarts. It's like, man, didn't you learn from the last time? But I guess if you only got to go 40 laps, you don't have to worry about what's going to happen late in the run now.
Yeah, he lasted about 40 laps before everything just fell off a cliff, so this one could be a fun one now.
Something that I is just occurring to me now to think about. You've talked a couple of times about the difference in color that we saw in Carroll's brakes versus everybody else's. Does that heat carry over to the new set of tires? Will the new set come up to temp faster and possibly wear out a little faster because the brakes are so hot?
No, because you can see how quickly they cool and how quickly they change color. The brake ducts on these cars are absolutely massive. Going down the straightaways when you're not on the brakes, they get cooled down relatively quickly. It's only really on the road courses and maybe somewhere like Martinsville that you have to start worrying about brake temperature.
Just seeing Andrew Moore Jr. coming around Tony Patton for the 8th position. We are back to everybody but Tim Knott and John Moeller on the lead lap. So if a caution comes out quickly, all of these guys from Troy Haight on back will be able to make the stop 4 tires. Troy Haight coming around Kevin Dick for the 6th position as well. So Kevin Dick not moving real well on the restart, but how about the battle for the race lead? Hunter Waters with a big dive to turn number 1 on Johnny Avila. Oh man, Carroll really had to grab the binders at the midpoint of the corner too. He about ran over Johnny Avila.
Well, to add to the list of things that aren't working, my cameras work now, but my timing and scoring is frozen up completely. We are still on lap 133 according to that.
Well, that was easy enough. Just close that window and then click timing screen again on the main software screen. That will reboot your timing screen for you. But that's all right. We got a handle on things over here.
Hey,
This dumpster fire is not going out yet. Top 4 cars all within 1.2 seconds. Tyler Seville is going to be the farthest separated of those. At about 0.7 of a second back from 3rd place, Braden Carroll. Are we seeing some of the tire management? Oh, hold on to it, Hunter Waters.
Not from Hunter Waters.
That was a big wiggle.
Braden Carroll going to try and make it 3 wide. Decides to back out of it, probably wisely.
Yeah, discretion, the better part of valor on that one. My goodness. But we've talked about how good Tyler Seville is at saving tires. All he has to do is enough to stay close, which means you could be saving a little bit of rubber for later in this run. But that also is going to work in reverse as well, because Johnny Avila, Hunter Waters, they're in the same Discord channel as Tyler Seville is in that Will Worsler Racing Team discussion. They're going to be able to kind of talk each other through tire management and some of that stuff. Like, hey, I'm not going to push here. Hey, it's time to go. Those types of things. They're able to communicate that with each other. Whereas Braden Carroll, he's not in that room. He's kind of a man on his own little island.
Yeah, Braden Carroll kind of fighting blind here. As you see Tyler Seville just very easy, lifting way before he even gets to the corner. You can hear him just scrubbing the brakes a little bit. Very easy onto the throttle, not shifting. He is waiting for the end of this race to pounce.
Yeah, take your time. Roll it through the corners, nice and easy. And then when it's time to go, it is really go time. I wonder when that point is going to come in this race, because we're already starting to see a little bit of squirreliness here out of Johnny Avila. We've seen it out of Hunter Waters as well. That's not... It's tough to make that call sometimes to know, hey, I've gotten the tires up to temp properly, and now I'm good to make the move, as we see Braden Carroll do on Hunter Waters.
Yeah, and you can see Johnny Avila is not getting away from the field as quickly as he did in the last one.
Yeah, I would imagine that's a little bit of use the relative box that you have available within the iRacing sim. You know where everybody is. You keep them at that distance behind you. It's kind of the same thing we talked about with Tyler Seville. You use that to your advantage and just say, hey, I don't have to run real hard.
Yeah, and Johnny Avila, actually all of those WWR guys are masters at it. I did some practice with them during the Winter Series, and Johnny Avila was able to just hold it a tenth of a second behind me, no matter how inconsistent I was. As we see Braden Carroll making a lunge for the lead.
He's going to grab the lead. Right, Avila, yep, big time crossover down there into turn 3. The later that happens in this run, though, the more difficult it becomes, because that's when the snap oversteer starts to become a factor on corner exit.
Kind of like that. And John Moeller getting in the way of the battle. Avila's going to come right back to it.
Man, those guys were sideways off the corner and lapping a car. Oh, Carroll
in the wall.
May have kissed the wall.
Oh, that wasn't a may. The fans had to put safety glasses on to avoid the sparks from that one. You can see Carroll getting loose every time he gets out of turn 2.
And that's what you're talking about, burning off that right rear tire. Oh, there's contact with Hunter Waters as well.
Tyler Seville now going to be right on the bumper at Carroll.
Well, this is where Seville was doing some tire saving, and that comes into play. Oh, there's contact. Big hit. Hunter Waters going to go around as well. Caution will come out. Tyler Seville and Braden Carroll both hard into the outside wall. And Carroll is beached, stuck on the outside wall. He has to take the tow.
Oh, man. Tyler Seville with a little bit of damage, but he comes out on top in this fight. He gets right by Hunter Waters. Looks like he's going to keep his spot. He is right there with Johnny Avila. As long as that car is not terminal, I think he might be able to put up a good fight.
Yeah, there is definitely some pretty significant damage on the right-hand side of that car.
Now, is it only body
at least
damage, or it must be driving funky, because he's going to come down the pit lane and have the crew check it out.
Yeah, at the very least, if it's not driving a little wonky, he may even have a meatball. Which is a tough, tough break for Tyler Seville. That car going to make its way down pit lane. Troy Haight, Kevin Dick, Tony Patton, and Braden Carroll all on the pit lane. Carroll, you see there, over 54 seconds. That does include the towing time as well. So now the question becomes, how long does Tyler Seville have to sit on pit lane? And how about it? Kevin Dick had an extra set of rubber in the box.
That he did. He's going to have fresh ones to go for these last 20 laps.
Fresh ones, smoke them if you got them. He's got 5 positions to make up on the racetrack. Johnny Avila, Lee Campbell, Andrew Moore Jr., and Hunter Waters remain on the racetrack. And Moore, I believe, will be back on the lead lap. At least that's what timing and scoring is telling me. Looks like Hunter Waters is going to possibly be getting an EOL here.
Yeah, I don't know if I could argue with that one, and I wish the replay was working, because you could have seen that Hunter Waters dove it in, got right underneath Braden Carroll, and unfortunately got him loose and sent him up the wall. And he definitely will have an EOL here. He's having to slow down, let some other cars get by him, and then he'll rejoin at the tail end of the field.
So Hunter Waters takes the EOL penalty. That means Tyler Seville's going to be able to come past. Hunter Waters, in fact, is actually going to have to start behind all the lap down cars, it looks like, as well here, possibly.
Yes, EOLs do not discriminate. All it means is end of the longest line. Whether the cars in that longest line are on the lead lap, 1 lap down, or 15 laps down, you go behind them.
Yeah, now this is where Hunter Waters is going to probably take the outside lane for the restart just because it's going to have fewer cars in it. But then the question becomes, what does everybody else do?
I don't know what the rule is and if he has a choice. I would think that he has to start at the end of the longest line behind all the other cars. Whether he wants to move up to the high side and blow past him when the green flag comes out, I don't know, but I would think he has to start behind everyone.
That's an interesting question. We'll have to see how that one develops here, but lights are out on the iRacing safety car. 5 of the top 6 choose the inside lane. Kevin Dick, the only car restarting on the outside. Looks like Tim Knott. Yeah. Tim Knott chooses the outside. Richard Smith chooses the outside, but those cars are 1 lap down.
Yeah, you could see Hunter Waters way back there on the inside line, so I'm not sure that you get a choice.
iRacing safety car is in. It'll be 17 laps to go this time by. Through the restart zone, great jump for Johnny Avila. Lee Campbell did not get going all that quickly. Andrew Moore Jr., Troy Haight going to be right there. They want to pounce. It's going to be a 17-lap shootout for the win here at Richmond.
Tyler Seville, yeah, it does not look like he's completely up to pace. So unfortunately, maybe too much damage on that car. Tim Knott getting himself way in a dogfight. He was 3 wide before.
Andrew Moore Jr. having the peak inside of Lee Campbell. That's going to be the fight for the 3rd position. How about the recovery for Andrew Moore Jr. from 2 laps down to now being in contention for a podium? Oh, and he slides up the racetrack. Troy Haight has to take evasive action.
With the massive
save.
My Did you see how hard he got rear-ended?
That was huge all the way around. How about the battle for the race lead? Yeah, Kevin Dick looking outside of Johnny Avila into 3.
Avila's going to slide up. Almost contact.
Oh, Kevin Dick may have kissed the outside wall off at turn number 4. Just catching the tiniest little bit of safer barrier, but he's going to hold on to the race lead. On board now with Johnny Avila as they head down the backstretch. Man, you see that wiggle off it too.
Well, you see Johnny Avila is in 4th gear the whole way around the track, unlike Tyler Seville, who we were on board with a little while ago, staying in 5th around the track. But I guess with only 14 laps to go, I mean, you're not really trying to save the tires anymore. Burn them off if you got them.
Yeah, the problem is Johnny Avila has 32 laps on his tires versus the 8 laps that Kevin Dick has run, most of those being under caution. The question now becomes, are Troy Haight and Tony Patton going to be able to do anything?
You can see, is Kevin Dick shifting? No, it looks like he's going to stay in 5th gear. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be. Open that gap up as much as you possibly can.
I would think, especially
Hunter
with
Waters,
fresher rubber, you can take advantage of 4th gear and really just pound the throttle coming out of the corners.
That's a great point. Hunter Waters taking advantage of Tyler Seville being a little bit slow, but he has not moved up at all. Now running in the 7th position. So tough break for both Hunter Waters and Tyler Seville. A couple of guys that were up front throughout this race. Has Troy Haight now up into a podium position.
Yeah, Troy Haight actually running down Johnny Avila a little bit.
Yeah, he's got 30-lap fresher tires, or 25-lap fresher tires anyway. This is really going to be the battle for position down to 9 to go here at Richmond. Kevin Dick has a 1.5-second lead over Johnny Avila. The gap is 2/10 and closing here for Troy Haight. Tony Patton's even going to be in possible position here to try to claim a podium. This one may be not much of a fight at all for the second position as Troy Haight gets inside of Johnny Avila at the entry to turns 1 and 2. Avila doing all he can, but the good news on that car saying no mas.
No.
At the lead, at the line.
They're saying
that was tight. Yeah, well.
This is a full send time of night. There's only 7 laps to go. You've got nothing to lose here.
Well, yeah, that's true. There's a little contact.
And he saved it.
Nice job, both of those guys, Johnny Avila and Troy Haight. How about Tony Patton getting into things now? Patton having to look up the outside of Haight for third. This is exactly what Johnny Avila wants to see. Let these two guys battle.
Now, I don't know if you've ever ridden on board with Johnny Avila as he's been turning laps in one of these races. Like, listen to him in the voice chat. But every time he has a tank slapper like that, he just gets all giddy and, like, starts giggling. And especially with cars behind him, he is having a great time out there.
It was a 5-finger salute last time by the start-finish line for 5 laps to go. It'll be 4 this time by for race leader Kevin Dick. Tony Patton thus far able to hold off Troy Haight, but the pass still not complete as they get to 1.
And if either of these guys can get single file, they could easily run down Johnny Avila. They're both faster than him alone, but running side by side like this is just enough for Johnny Avila to stay in front. Patton have to check up in the mid-corner. It's going to give Haight another chance to go at it from the low side. Uh-oh, Patton blinking out of existence, so Troy Haight's got this all to himself now.
Oh, no. It looks like Patton is a straight disconnect. At least that's what I'm seeing on my screen. He has not yet shown up on the text chat as having disconnected.
Oh, man, that was a fantastic battle, too. He didn't look like he was having any connection issues or anything. It just looks like someone pulled the plug.
Yep, Tony Patton is now on pit lane and being passed by everybody. White flag will fly this time by the start-finish line for race leader Kevin Dick. 4 seconds is the gap. And Johnny Avila is breathing a sigh of relief. Only a couple of more quarters to go. Through 3 and 4 for the final time. Checkered flag is in the air, and Kevin Dick picks up the win at Richmond. Off of 4, Johnny Avila going to come home second. Troy Haight will round out your podium. How about the run for Lee Campbell to 4th, and Andrew Moore Jr. makes up 2 laps on the field and comes home in the 5th position. What a drive tonight from Kevin Dick. He will park it at the start-finish line and absolutely burn them down. Well, whatever's left of them after that run. But a fantastic drive here tonight for Kevin Dick. The strategy works out absolutely perfect. We'll get all the graphics and stuff cleared out of the way here. We'll get ready to talk to our race winner here tonight.
The only one I'm looking for is Troy Haight, and I don't see him in the booth yet.
No, actually, and I grabbed the wrong guy. I grabbed Tony Patton instead of Troy Haight. So,
just rubbing it
but let's
in,
do this. Yeah. Well, actually, let's see if we can't talk to Tony Patton here real quick. Tony, we wanted to get an interview with you here because it looks like a little bit of a connection issue kicking you out of this race, but that was a fantastic drive to get that car up to contention for a podium spot before the internet decided to die on you.
That wasn't any internet. That was iRacing at its finest, right there. How with the way it played out at the end, where do you think I would have finished?
Third or fourth?
At worst, fourth. Yeah, it was either third or fourth.
Oh man, I thought I was fighting for second there almost.
You were with. That's what I say. At worst, you were third or fourth. It was you, Johnny, and Troy, and both you and Troy had about 25 lap fresher tires than Johnny had.
You both were way faster than Johnny. I was saying if you guys could just get single file, you could freight train them together.
That was frustrating.
Oh yeah. I was like,
well, it is what it is.
Well, Tony, thanks for coming to check in with us here. We appreciate it, man. Tough break. Next week something good's gonna happen. Carmen comes back in fun ways too.
I hope so.
All right, well there you go. There's Tony Patton. Tony finishing tonight in the 10th position. Absolutely hosed out of a great finish there tonight. But let's pick up our race winner. Guy he was heading off to victory lane. Now driving back across the racetrack again. Kevin Dick, congratulations. That tire stop with 20-some laps to go, you just had to be smiling when you saw that caution come out like, I got an extra set left.
You bet I was. It was a little nerve-wracking if it wouldn't have happened. I mean, it could go either way easily, so I don't know. There's a little bit of luck on my side.
And I'll tell you what, this one is big. Picking up the bonus points for the race win, the bonus points at the stages tonight. You're eating up a bunch of ground that Johnny had built up here, at least some of the ground that Johnny had built up, as we're now halfway through this first season. We're looking at a dogfight now for 6 more races.
Yeah, I just got to pick up a little bit better on the super speedways. It seems to be where we struggle. I think we can go head-to-head with Johnny on most other tracks, but those speedways just seem to be our struggle. I think it's a team thing, sort of. I mean, we just don't have enough guys on our team. It's just me and Andrew, so with all the guys on the Will Worsler race in there, we're sort of outnumbered when it comes to the super speedways.
Yes, the armada of race cars that Will Worsler Racing brings out to the super speedways. But, man, talk us through this entire night, because it seemed like there was, at one point towards the middle of the race, we had you back like 7th or 8th position. It almost felt like that was just a little bit of tire conservation. Was that a strategy call? Or because ultimately, whatever it was, it worked to give you that extra set of tires at the end of the race?
He was just worn out. Trying to get by Johnny there early into that second part of the run on the second run there. Just running on the outside there. Just ate up my stuff just a little bit too much. And I feel like things compound in this, like at this track. So if you're starting to build a push early, I mean, it's just going to get worse and worse. And you could see that as Johnny, slowly pulled away more and more throughout the run.
Well, fantastic drive for you tonight. Congratulations on picking up your second race win of the season. That one was big, and we're looking forward to seeing what comes next week. But before we let you go here, make sure you do all the big sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to the guys at Pie-Eyed. Andrew there, real great guy to race with. I'll give a shout out to Jordan and Sam for running the league, doing a heck of a job, and you guys up in the booth.
All right, bud. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that. And now time to check in with our runner-up finisher tonight here, Mr. Johnny Avila. And, man, you had to be a little bit pucker factor there, seeing a couple of guys coming with fresh tires. You obviously didn't have them. And then all of a sudden, just poof, the battle was gone behind you.
Yeah, honestly, the way the race was shaping up, I thought I'd have a good shot at the win, and then I just see Kevin pit for new tires and nobody take the outside line, and he's right beside me, and I'm like, ugh. And then there's Troy chasing up behind me, and I was just like, I'm gonna fight as hard as I can.
Yeah, I said your tires were saying no moss, and Patrick's up here saying your tires are saying live moss. It feels like there was a whole lot of full send there late in that race, at least until you got the gap opened up over Troy.
Yeah, I was driving in I don't care moss. Make those tires listen.
Oh my God. Give him the old Chris Brown 1-2 and just bang, bang, get him. But let's go. We're going to keep going
I
here.
don't think we can say that on the air.
It's great because I'm not the one who said it this time.
We'll make the joke once in a while. You pick up the best lap time of the race award as well at a 22.3. It seemed like the car was either really good or really not was the kind of the order of the day here.
Well, that first run, I had way too much front brake bias in it, and I was just plowing like a dump truck. So I cranked the sucker as far back as I could, I think 39 or some. And then the car drove great the rest of the race. Most importantly, though, in that first stage, mission was accomplished. I hit Tyler, and then I intimidated him to the inside wall. So all was good.
I was gonna say he was going back and forth to you on Facebook today, and you came out victorious. So
Yeah, he was talking a lot of smack for somebody that was in the back.
Wow. The interest squad, the beef. It's not really beef, but it should be. Are you the heel or is Tyler the heel in that one then?
I'll let you guys decide.
That's awesome. Two nice guys that are trying to be badasses with each other. All right, Gianni,
All I'm gonna say is I'm over here getting interviewed, and he's not.
oh,
So
now we got
that
to
is
interview.
correct. Not even getting interviewed, but also the last car on the lead lap in the 7th position tonight was Tyler Seville. So you can use that one to rub it in a little bit here. But I have a feeling next week the Bizzle Bowl 200 at Bristol may be a comeuppance here at some point. But Johnny, before we let you go, do all the big sponsor plugs and thank you. Love getting to chat with you. And congratulations again on the podium.
I'd just like to thank everybody that puts this league together. All of my teammates running this league week in and week out is a lot of fun. And congratulations to Kevin on the win. Frickin' guy had another set of tires.
Yes, he did. He did, and you didn't, which, quite frankly, that was the difference in 4 seconds at the gap there at the end, because, man, you guys were so darn quick up against each other. But one more interview to do here tonight, and that one is for our 3rd place finisher, a guy who I think was enjoying the battle with Tony Patton, but kind of relieved to see him disappear. Troy Haight, congratulations. A great 3rd place finish for you.
Yeah, thanks. I think Tony would have had me if he didn't drop out.
Yeah, it seemed like you guys were really putting on a fantastic battle. You're outside, he's inside, you're crossing each other up. That has to be a lot of fun. For decent tires on a fun racetrack, that's kind of why we do this thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a good race. I was kind of not really up there too far, but it just the late race caution. I was able to put the last set of tires on, and got held up a little bit, but had a chance. But with Kevin having fresh tires too, I knew it was going to be tough to get up there for the lead.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a fantastic run for you tonight here. Congratulations on the podium. And before we let you go, make sure you do all those big sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yeah, I want to thank Woodfather, my dad, and friends and family for supporting me every week. Sam and the 2 Jordans for the league admins, and you guys in the booth.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here as well tonight. And Patrick, congratulations. You are officially a television producer. First, let's run through before we get to
my resume for months.
Oh, well, there you go. That's even better. Let's run you through our final race results here tonight before we get too far ahead of ourselves. Kevin Dick is your race winner by 4.2 seconds over Johnny Avila. Troy Haight rounding out the podium, Lee Campbell and Andrew Moore Jr. completing the top 5. 6 through 10 tonight going to be Hunter Waters, Tyler Seville, Tim Knott, Richard Smith II, and Tony Patton. John Moeller and Braden Carroll, the last 2 cars that were running at the finish. Moeller finishing the 11th position, Carroll coming home 12th. Richard Fletcher and Thomas Wilhite going out early on in this one. Race that took, iRacing doesn't tell me, but an average lap time of 26.421 seconds. Not all that bad to get around Richmond Raceway. And I'll tell you what, Patrick, we kind of got the show we were looking for here tonight. A lot of long green flag runs, but my God, was there a lot of side-by-side racing.
Oh, yeah, and we finally got a good look at it once I figured out how to use the cameras.
We'll work with you on that. We got to get you up to speed here because we may turn you loose as your own producer here for some of these shows. But man, I'm looking forward to what we have coming up here tomorrow on the National Racing Network. Now, this is going to be pending internet connectivity not being an issue here for us, but coming up at 3 p.m. in the East, it will be the Lotus 49s, followed by the Lotus 79s at 4 p.m. in the East. Then we'll have the U.S. Open Wheel doubleheader. That race will go ahead one way or the other. We are going to figure out a way to get those on the air. Coming up at 9 p.m. tomorrow Eastern Daylight Time, it will be the Indy Pro 2000 cars from Okayama, followed by USF 2000 racing. Friday, we'll see. Maybe we'll turn Patrick loose on the controls again here for the Camel GT Happy Hour. I will be down in Naples, Florida for the Budweiser Cup Championship Swamp Buggy races, where they will crown their series champions. They run from November to March/April, a kind of 3 or 4 race schedule.
The cold
It's a lot of
down in Florida, where it's only
basically,
a freezing
yes.
70 degrees down there.
Yes, temperatures this weekend look to be a little bit at or above 90 degrees and sunny on Saturday, which is a great call. They'll be racing under the lights, on which I think is just going to be visually spectacular. All the spray and everything else coming off of these cars under the lights. Can't wait to do that one as well. We'll update you on when that one will air on MAV TV's Lucas Oil On the Edge program. And then we're coming back next week with the same kind of round through. Silver Crown on Monday, TNT Shock on Tuesday, and we're right back here Wednesday night for the Sim Racers Club. For Patrick Byrne and the Bizzle Bowl, that is right. The Bizzle Bowl, 200 from Bristol. That is absolutely getting a logo designed sometime in the next week.
Hell yeah.
But with that, it is time for us to get the heck on out of here. For Patrick Byrne and everybody here at the National Racing Network that makes these shows happen, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will talk to you all tomorrow. See you later, everybody.